Hello and welcome to Madoka Magicast, the podcast devoted to the dark magical girl anime Puella Magi Madoka Magica and its movie and spin-offs. I'm your host Amanda, and something just bumped against the wall next to me. I don't know if you heard that. Excuse me. I'm your host Amanda, and I'm joined by my co-hosts Yasha and Vanna.
Hi!
Hello!
They are the owners of the biggest English language revolutionary girl Utena website, Empty Movement. And we're also joined today by our producer, Panda.
Hello!
She's being shy, maybe.
No, I said hello.
There you are.
I know, but
it was just quiet.
It took like 5 seconds.
Oh, it's because, Amanda, your audio was delayed slightly, so I was waiting to see if you said anything else.
Oh, okay.
Yep,
all right.
we're shy.
Yeah.
Just accept it.
On this podcast, we talk about the Madoka Magica franchise. Yasha and Vanna are mostly newcomers to the show, and we talk about what we love and don't love about Madoka Magica. And today is our final...
We're doing it.
We're gonna kill this beast.
Our final episode talking about the Rebellion movie. If you have not listened to the podcast before, what are you doing here? At least go back and listen to all 4 parts of us talking about Rebellion. Don't start with this part. If you have listened to everything else up to this point, hello, welcome back. We are excited to both talk about the
best part of the movie?
Yeah, the best part of the movie, and then potentially based on how you take it, maybe the worst part of the movie, based on what you think about it. I'm ready to watch my favorite part of the movie right now, honestly.
Yes.
We left off in what was essentially, I think Homura's still talking to Kyuubey, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. She's still talking to Kyuubey, and you're finding about that she's been kept separate from her soul gem.
Yeah,
we
so
were just talking about the Tesseract a little bit.
Yes, this is where we started having audio problems. I was maybe about to start complaining about something.
Wow, shocker.
So basically, he's explaining to her that when, the incubators were never able to figure out what the law of cycles was exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
they always kind of wanted to know. Like, he says that at first, like, we wanted to know what it was. And we were very curious once you told us the story about witches and Madoka and all of this stuff. Like, we found that story very intriguing. And so we decided what would happen if we isolated a soul gem from the law of cycles. So that's what they did, basically. They somehow put Homura's soul gem in a thing that made it impossible for Madoka to get to it. So she's basically trapped in her soul gem, so she's being prevented from turning into a witch. So she's not really in a witch's labyrinth, because she's not a witch yet.
She's in a magical girl labyrinth.
Yes. And there's even that line in there from Utena. Or it's not from Utena, but it's the same reference that Utena is making.
They even mentioned that Utena makes this reference in the wiki. Like, it's so... Utena owns that reference. Sorry, Hess.
Why don't you guys tell us about this reference? Because you guys probably know way more about this reference than any of us could ever hope to know about it.
Oh, it's from Demian originally.
Yeah. Herman
Hesse's Demian talking about Abraxas and the egg that is the world.
Flies to God and blah, blah, blah.
Right. So Kyuubey says, you're like a chick in an egg who is unable to break out of its shell, and it dies having never been born.
Except in this case, you just grew up within the shell.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, like, what is the context of this reference? Like, what is this?
Oof, I'm like dredging up from my memory.
Yeah.
In Utena and Demian, it has the same significance, really. It's reworded in one case.
Yeah, but
other,
I mean...
But it's the same, like,
it's basically
you have to
the
suffer
world...
a little to grow up, or you won't learn how to be an adult.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah.
Kind of like that. You have to... In Utena, it's if it cannot break out of its shell, the chick will die without ever being born. We are the chick, the world is our egg. If we cannot break out of our shell, we will die without being born for the revolution of the world, blah, blah, blah. And it's basically just like, we want to exceed the limits placed on us, or we can't grow as human beings. And so that's kind of the reference they're making here, is that she has not been able to exceed these limits, so she's been growing up trapped inside this shell.
Which is implying in this case that growing up would be becoming a witch.
Yes. Well, that's been the implication
she's
all
being
along.
Forced not to be able to become a witch.
That's been the implication all along, though, throughout the entire series, is that growing up means you become a witch.
Yeah.
Isn't this reference seems a lot more like surface level and literal to me. And I feel like I don't really necessarily see like this having the same kind of message unless they are trying to purposefully be sexist here.
I mean, I still would like to do an episode on sexism and gender in Madoka because there's a lot there.
I don't think they're being purposefully sexist.
No, I don't think so either.
I think they might be having some negative tropes going on here. Like, the tropes might be sexist. So that makes me wonder, like, what is this reference doing here? It's kind of strange. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, on the most surface level, this movie draws a lot from Utena.
Yeah.
It draws a lot of its imagery and stuff from,
I mean, it doesn't
especially
even have
the
to be a
Utena
sexist
movie.
reading. Like, it can just be a law of balance kind of thing, where you're being prevented from growing up in the sense that you've had the positivity in that you had your wish manifest, but you still have to have that equal and opposite curse that you put on the world afterwards. So even when you, like, take away, like, the sexist, you don't grow up until you become jaded thing, you still have that same, you've had this joy, so now you have to have an equal and opposite measure of pain. And in that sense, she's a chick stuck in the egg. Like, she has her joy in the labyrinth that she has. It's not even a witch labyrinth, really. But she's been prevented from manifesting that equal and opposite amount of grief with it because of the restraints that they put on her soul gem. So it's a very literal use of the reference.
You guys call in your notes, you called this thing that they put around her soul gem a tesseract.
Yes.
I was trying to get Vanna to explain that last time and she wouldn't. No, but like, what is a tesseract?
Well, they don't actually call it that in the movie, so we should say that first, right?
They don't.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you mean by that?
Just because, like, the whole trope of having, like, ooh, it's like a cube, but the cube is moving around within the cube. Ooh.
It's like a fourth dimensional cube or something.
Yeah. It's a fourth dimensional cube.
Yeah.
And, like, when they talk about it like spheres, I mean, it's the same explanation. Like, if you imagine, like, a point at the center of a sphere, in a 4D space, that point can move and always be at the center of the sphere.
Yeah.
And that's, like, why the Tesseracts always have that, like, visualization of a cube growing in inside and outside
and, like,
of
turning
itself
inside out.
Yeah, except that, you know, a Tesseract, the length of all of those lines is always the same.
Right.
Which makes no sense, obviously, in a 3D space. That's the whole point. But it's implying that they're keeping it in a space that the galaxy's rules don't follow. So Madoka can't find it because it's not technically in the universe. So, which I thought was super cool because I'm a sad nerd and these things amuse me.
Okay.
But that's why I keep putting Tesseract.
Cool. This is the kind of thing that makes me mad.
Do you tell?
Because it's one of those things that can only happen in a sequel. Do you kind of know what I'm saying?
Having an ending, you have to already understand what keeping a soul gem away from.
No. Like, according to Madoka's wish, this cannot be happening.
Right.
Yeah.
Because according to the terms of her own wish, which the incubators had to grant, this cannot be happening. She wished to be able to always stop every witch from becoming a witch before they were born. Right? Yeah. So this is impossible. Like, she should be able to...
That's the idea. Yeah.
This has already happened to her.
She didn't specify that she also wanted to account for places that were extra universe.
That's some like high level rules lawyering there.
Yeah, okay, I get that. But that's the explanation that they're using, is that they made a pocket of time and space that Madoka cannot see, and if she cannot see it, then she can't go see it.
Did they say that? Is there actually a line mentioning pockets of space?
It's called an isolation field.
Yeah.
So, implying a pocket of space.
Does it imply that? Or is it they just talking about, like, a force field or something?
It does to me. Like, when you call it, like, an isolation field.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, what?
It's,
like, what is
a stretch,
that?
But that's what they're calling
maybe
it.
If they had actually explained it the way you're explaining it right now, maybe maybe I can understand that. But Madoka went to the past, went to the future. Her wish was literally every magical girl that ever was, ever will be.
Or ever will be.
Yeah, I will prevent all of them from ever becoming witches ever. Forever, ever.
Yeah.
Ever, always, ever.
Yeah.
Forever and ever, always. They will never be witches ever
field
again.
At that point means it's working outside of time and space.
That's pretty much...
Which to me makes sense because isolation field is that's exactly what that would mean in sci-fi speak.
Yeah.
I guess
that
so.
made sense.
Maybe I just don't know that word, but explain it to me, please. I need to know more than that. And also, why would her wish be limited to time and space? If there's a witch in another dimension, wouldn't her wish reach that witch? I don't...
Theoretically.
Yeah,
But she rewrites the laws of the universe to accommodate this wish. And then once the universe exists in a way that can accommodate this wish, it's restricted to that universe. So if you take someone out of the confines of that particular path of space-time, then theoretically she would not be able to save them.
Yes, but it's a time travel thing. You understand what I mean?
It is.
She
this
already
totally becomes a Trek episode.
It's a determinism thing. She already saw you doing that when she made the wish. So she already would have gone back and stopped you from doing that. Do you know what I mean?
The movie actually does address that.
Mm-hmm.
Because she does know Homura is there.
Yeah.
She couldn't get at Homura without hiding. Basically,
they go through how she gets into it later.
But she's not blind to Homura becoming a witch. She knows she's there. It's just that she doesn't have direct access out of space-time because she's made herself god of this one universe.
Yes, but then Homura becomes a witch.
Yeah.
And Madoka doesn't stop her from becoming a witch, and that can't happen according to her wish.
According to her wish. But we've learned already that the wishes are not always entirely 100% delivered the way you want them.
No.
I mean...
According to Madoka's wish, that is literally what she wished for.
Well, Homura's wish got completely kiboshed too, so
her wish was bullshit. She had a shitty wish. Homura wished for something that was obviously gonna go to shit. Come on. That's what I meant, this is a situation that can only be sequel bullshit. That's another problem that I have with this movie. This is not something that follows from the TV show.
In this podcast, people that are mad at 14-year-old girls for not thinking of every single contingency when they make their wish with the devil.
No, I'm not mad at them. I'm not.
You're mad at the writers.
No, you're mad at writing.
I'm mad at the writing, yes. I'm mad at them for writing in many ways. In many ways I've already mentioned, and I won't go over again, undoing a lot of the things from the show. But especially this, I just feel like this is forced.
There's a word for this.
This is forced.
There is a technical term for what this is. Mm-hmm. They had a story they wanted to tell.
Yeah.
And then they teched the tech until it happened.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what this is.
Yeah.
We can provide it makes sense this way and it makes sense that way. And I genuinely feel like most of that is us manufacturing the science behind it or the theorizing
Quote,
behind it
unquote,
or whatever.
science.
Yeah. That's us doing it after the fact. You do it with Utena, you do it with tons of other shit. I don't think they actually plotted out what a tesseract was or any of this crap. Or how an isolation field is outside of space-time, blah, blah, blah. I don't think they parsed that out. They wanted to tell a story where Homura had to be saved by Madoka in special circumstances outside of her wish. Therefore, tech the tech until it happens.
Yeah.
And it's tech the tech is when they were writing Star Trek.
When the writers were writing Star Trek, they would just
have their storyline, and then they would make up their crap.
It's not even, they would even put in the script, they tech the tech so that the tech makes the thing happen.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't even write in the words, they would actually just write in tech.
Tech the tech.
It's use this tech to foil this tech that's foiling our
and
tech.
And then, it became dilithium crystal this.
Yeah. People went in and actually inserted terms that sort of made sense after, but that's kind of what's happening here.
That's what's
They're
happening
teching
here.
the tech.
Is they wanted to tell this story and they made some science magic happen to make it work. Mm-hmm. Which,
as someone who draws comics and writes stories, I can respect that. As someone who likes Madoka a whole lot, I can also still think it's bullshit and be mad about it.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And
I
like,
can
it's
do
fun
both.
for
I
me
can do
because
both.
it's talking my language, but it is still cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, please continue. I just wanted to say
Uh-huh.
I thought that was dumb.
Yay, some shots of the Tesseract
Yeah.
Soul Gem.
Which is being held over this like fetus-looking
And
horseshoe
Homura basically
thing.
has like a grave.
Oh yeah, they
in the real
straight up
world.
use the cubes working inside cubes thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Okay. Also, Kyuubey acts way more like a cat.
Yeah.
Yes.
He does.
In the movie, he does a lot more cat movement, and I'm like, aw, now I like
It's
him
very
more.
cute.
I do not like him.
Very cute.
I do not like him. And I'm mad about Kyuubey because I like Kyuubey in
Okay,
Magireko.
do you remember earlier in the podcast I used to go on about how I was 100% sure these people had definitely played Xenogears?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
This whole sequence is not helping.
Didn't you find like a musical cue in this too?
There's even a musical,
yeah.
but like this whole sequence is exactly the way a whole like story
was
construct
the back
comes
half of Xenogears.
yeah, the
Yeah.
back half that nobody can sit through. That part.
Yep.
But
so
yeah, she's
basically
created
the
a
idea
labyrinth
is
within herself, but not necessarily a witch one.
yeah, she can't become a witch, but she's created a labyrinth anyway because that's what she's supposed to do because she's supposed to
Yeah.
be a witch.
This is the place, the world inside your soul gem.
More
I
fallen
saw some
glimpse.
creepy shots of Kyuubey though.
Yeah, I'm glad they gave
If it's
us the
isolated
creepy
from
Kyuubey
the
shots.
outside world, it should be impossible for people to wander in. Oh yeah, so
Yeah. So here's where they talk about how Madoka got in. The isolation force apparently only works in one direction, repels outside interference, but
lets people in.
if she invites someone in, they can come in. And that's, I mean, I guess we'll go with that.
I guess.
Like,
I guess.
again, Madoka's wish should be able to, this shouldn't be a thing for her.
I mean, I don't want to rules lawyer too hard, but
Yeah.
she's not a witch yet.
That's
so-
true. She's
Also,
not.
Madoka is in there.
I agree with you. It's she's not a witch yet. That's true. But
She's not a witch
Yeah.
yet, and also Madoka was invited in, so
Yeah.
I don't
she
know
is
what
technically
these,
there.
These constructs, these like eyes and faces of Kyuubey that are floating around in these like little frames
Mhm.
with saws on them and stuff. I don't know what that's specifically supposed to look like, but that is kind of what it looks like when you do traction on a person's skull.
Yeah.
Like when you do brain surgery and stuff, they bolt your fucking head to the
well, that's
surgical
what
table.
that's what the
and it looks like that.
that's what it looked like around the soul gem. To me.
Yeah. Or like when you have like external fixation of a broken limb, like it looks very medical, and I'm guessing that's deliberate because there's a saw there too.
Mm.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's more of there's a lot of medical imagery, but that one is a bit more explicitly surgical imagery.
But now they're calling
As a
her a
witch.
witch.
now they're calling her a
Now
witch,
they're
which
calling
I
her a
feel like
witch.
was not a great
I feel
translation
like, yeah,
choice or script
she's
choice.
not really. She isn't
she's
a witch
not, that's the
yet.
point.
Like, yeah, that is the whole point.
Yeah,
But-
I kind of they should not have been.
Either way, she unconsciously invited in people that she knew. And the whole point was to get the law of the cycle to come and try and reach her through this isolation field by rematerializing as a person.
Except that then she would not be able to escape.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah kind of.
No way
Kind of.
to keep.
And then they would be
And
able
he's
to...
in this like severe Dante's Inferno last looking
Yeah, I know, right?
thing.
So they're doing all of this to observe the law of the cycle and probably kill it. That's probably
Yeah,
what
Like
they
I mean
wanna
that's
do.
heavily implied.
Yeah,
that they
Homura
wanna
calls
kill
them
the
out
mob
on that.
cycle.
Like, well, that's not logical. You said yourself that curiosity isn't logical. So obviously you
Mhm.
want to control her, destroy her or something. And I think
Yeah.
I think she gets we're not there yet, but I think she gets pretty
But she does
pissed.
call them one.
She gets pretty
Yeah,
pissed
she
about
does.
that, yeah.
That's when she loses it.
yeah.
Well, even like in the show when she tells that whole story, Kyuubey's immediately like, "Wow, that would be super useful."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not like
I
that.
don't know.
That aspect
I
is like,
think
yeah,
I'm
I'm not
not-
surprised.
I think I'm not the only one who saw her telling that story to Kyuubey and was
we
like,
were literally we
"No,
said that.
that's
We
a
literally
bad
said that
idea.
on the podcast.
Don't do that."
Why are you telling him this?
Yeah.
Why are you giving him this information?
Yeah, like, why would you?
Except that we even explained why too, because this Kyuubey was kind of ooh and cute, so nobody actually was worried about him.
Yep. The one disappointment was that Kaname Madoka never displayed any sign of unusual power. I mean,
Because
she wouldn't,
outside of
though.
the universe where she's
Yeah,
Madoka,
this if we take it for granted that she's not in the universe where she's the law
then
of the
she would
cycle
not be
anymore,
any
then she
different.
wouldn't be. So
She's only
So fuck you,
she's only
Kyuubey.
only Madokami or whatever in the world that she created.
Yeah.
yeah. So again, fuck you, Kyuubey. By observing it, you wrecked it.
Yes. So all memories were rewritten. She forgot that she'd come to save you, lost track of her true identity and power.
But she did come to save you, so she did know she was there.
Yeah, so once she was inside, she no longer had the...
She couldn't get out again.
Yeah.
Which is implied to have been something she knew was going to happen, because she creates a contingency plan with Sayaka and
Yeah, exactly.
Nagisa and all of that crap.
And that's kind of... That's why I was like...
Madoka's plan makes more sense in this movie than anybody else's decisions in the movie.
Yeah, to be honest, like,
Yeah.
even Sayaka and Nagisa being there and not saying anything, like, a lot of the time it seems to me like they're just trying to figure out what Homura really wants, and if she really wants to stay in this happy world.
Would they leave her?
Exactly. Like, if she was really happy there, I think what would have ended up happening
They might have
is
left her.
they might have left her there.
Well, actually, no. Like, they kind of can't because now Madoka's there.
Yeah,
So
I don't
Madoka
think
has to get out one way or another.
I don't think they realized that when they were going in.
That's fair. Yeah.
But that's why Sayaka acts the way she does when she's confronting Homura, is because she knew the plan all along. Her and isn't it? Don't they say later on too that the only reason that her and Nagisa could remember was because they died?
Yeah, they kind of imply that.
Yeah.
And I know that there's even more Nutcracker imagery. I don't know the Nutcracker at all, but I mean, all the little soldiers I know are supposed to be evocative of that, and the owls.
Yeah, so we're starting to get, like, this is like a really cool, like, execution progression here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, they begin to parade, it's like a parade of all these witch familiars. They're kind of dressed like Homura, but they're wearing, like, what are those guards outside of the British Palace?
Buckingham Palace.
Yeah. With the big hat.
Are they carrying bayonets, or are they carrying, like, quarterstaffs or something?
I think they're bayonets.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah. Okay, I just want to point out Kyuubey taunting
call out
Homura
to her.
here. He's like, yeah, call out to her. That's going to make her remember who she is and what she came here to do.
That's when Homura loses her.
Homura is basically like, excuse you? This is when she calls out his curiosity. She's like, curiosity is illogical, idiot. I know what you're here to do. And there's this nice tense scene with the guards.
Everything.
Yeah, they look like staffs, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're pounding their staffs and all the glass is breaking slowly, and yeah, that ends up in some bad shit, especially for Kyuubey, who, as I recall, keeps dying throughout this scene.
Yes.
It's very satisfying.
She immediately starts murdering the shit out of him repeatedly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now things are exploding. Homura's lost it.
Yeah.
Kyuubey's like, I'm not going to deny that I wanted to use her to my advantage. And yes, so Homura's little familiars are basically trying to murder the shit out
she's
of him.
like just using her witch powers now to just try to kill him. Yeah.
Didn't somebody point out that the red designs around Homura look like a lottery or something?
A lottery?
Yeah, a lottery or a fortune-telling system or something like that.
I don't remember the name of it. I'd have to go dig it up. But...
Yeah, it was in the Discord. Somebody pointed that out. And I just want to give them a little nod. Thank you, person, for pointing this out, because that was super cool. As I recall, it was a way of choosing people randomly.
Yeah. Except she's got no interest in randomly choosing them.
Yeah.
Oh, Ghost Leg.
Yeah, Ghost Leg.
Amida Kuji.
Amida Lottery, so named because the paper was folded into a fan shape. It's a method of lottery designed to create random pairings between two sets of any number of things as long as the number of elements in each set is the same. This is often used to distribute things among people where the number of things distributed is the same as the number of people. For instance, chores or prizes could be assigned fairly and randomly this way. So that's what they were pointing out the red designs look like.
Except that she's just using it as if it's like radiating power out.
Yeah. And once we could interfere with it, we would be able to control it. Oh, okay. Sorry, Kyuubey, this isn't gonna work for you.
Oh my god, he's like scratching his ear and stuff. It's cute. Yeah.
Collect vast amounts of energy all at once.
Yeah, like, Kyuubey would be perfectly content to bring the witches back.
Yeah.
Yes. And Kyuubey is, like, getting pinned in place and torn to shreds and doesn't care because,
because there are a bunch of him.
There are a bunch of him, and apparently he doesn't feel pain.
Your existence as Akemi Homura has reached its completion.
Now you're a witch.
Yep.
You graduate now.
Shouldn't that bring you joy? He says.
What the fuck?
This is not the joy that I wish for.
Yeah. She's like with red suns and like moons in her eyes and blood, and it's like, yes,
Yes, joy.
And she's basically just like, well, I'm gonna curse the entire world if it takes you down with me and protects her. So,
Yep.
I love that. The moon
Very end
basically
of
bleeding.
Evangelion right
Yep.
here.
And all of the drops turning into Homuras falling into this sea of blood, hitting the white Homuras that are rising out of it.
It's cool. The witch sequence is fucking cool.
Wasn't
right?
that the dance that Sayaka did that you mentioned earlier?
No, that's going to be way at the end.
Oh, okay. But that looked like it as
It
well.
might be as well, but
Yeah.
I'm thinking specifically of a sequence at the end where she's like celebrating being what she did. He's like,
And
do you mean to
Kyuubey's
spend
like,
the
do
rest
you
of
mean to
eternity
spend-
with only curses for company? So
And-
yeah, he's, as far as he's concerned, if she turns into a witch, Madoka can't do anything about it. So she'll just be a witch here
So
for
I have
all
a question
eternity.
at this point in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Is it her plan now, at this point in the movie, to trap Madoka later in a new world? Or is that something that she does only after she has become Devil Homura? Do you know what I'm trying to say? Is this still the Homura we know who would rather become a witch than sell out Homura?
I think
sell
so.
out Madoka.
And then when she becomes a witch, she says, you know what? I do want to sell out Homura, and I want her all for myself. And then that's how that happens? Or is what she's telling Kyuubey right now, like, is this bullshit?
Honestly, I feel like there's no change.
I was going to say
her
extreme
major-
hot take, but I don't think Devil Homura is
I don't think
extremely
there's really a
different from
change.
current Homura.
I mean, I don't really have much of... I don't really care really one way or the other, because I... like, not to repeat myself, but I do not like this movie or that change. But I've always wondered, that's another one of the ways I've tried to legitimize this movie, like, maybe this is still the Homura that I like, and by turning into a witch, she has changed a little bit as a person.
I don't think the kind of person she is has changed at all. Her access to available options has changed.
Yep.
She didn't know she could become Devil Homura and take over, like, the entire fucking universe and trap Madoka in a safe little space to keep her protected forever and ever and ever. Or I think she might have done that to begin with.
Yeah.
If she'd known how
Her
a more
overriding
noble attempt
desire
would
this
turn out.
Well,
whole
it's a
time
little
has
bit.
never changed.
It's a little bit like saying the Sayaka who really wanted to help people and help Kyosuke is the same person who slaughtered 2 guys on a subway. Like, yes, it's the same
that is
person.
the same
It
person.
is. It is. But a whole bunch of shit happened in between those 2 things.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And our experiences influence our decisions and who we are. I'm not the same person I was when I was 13, but I am the same person that I was when I was 13. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
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 So
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like, is this necessarily, like, she's saying, like, I would rather become a witch than ever sell out Madoka to you. Like,
Which I think she would think at any point.
yeah, like, I would never let you control the law of cycles ever. Like, I would
But
never
it's a
let you
different
do
story
that. Yeah.
if she's the one controlling.
Yeah, I
the
know.
law of
So I've always
cycles.
kind of wondered that. Like, is
So-
this,
I feel
Yeah.
like there's no change. Her overriding desire has always been to protect Madoka, and
Whether Madoka wants it or not.
yeah, pretty much. And we saw her overriding Madoka's desires to protect her in the series. So to me, this is just a stronger but still a logical progression. Like, she has more availability to power. So, like, she has more power available to her. So she's going to use that. And that's, to me, it's all the same thing.
Oh, okay. Then she gives the explanation for why she doesn't mind turning into a witch.
Mm-hmm.
She knows Mami and Kyoko are there, so she just suspects to be killed right away.
Mm-hmm. So here it's basically just
unable to
like,
break
yeah,
the shell,
sure, I'll
you'll end
die
up
as a
fully
witch.
born witch inside the egg.
Well, I mean, this is just more evidence of the lengths she'll go
Yeah.
to be able to save Madoka. Like, she'll die as a witch to save Madoka, or she'll change the entire fucking universe to save
Yep.
Madoka.
Oh god, this gets so cool and trippy.
yes,
I love
it's
this
it's
sequence.
so
It's
cool.
on- I like watching, like, things just tear apart Kyuubey
Yeah,
wholesale.
yes.
It's just
Yep.
so violent. It's just so violent.
Wouldn't that be the worst possible outcome for you, he asks, when it was never about her? It was always about Madoka.
Yeah.
He just doesn't seem to grasp that it was never about her and what she wanted. It was about Madoka and what Madoka wanted.
No, it's actually, I
As
don't agree
far
with that
as-
at all. I don't agree with that at all. It was
No,
always
I'm
about
saying
home.
from
from
her point of view,
She thinks that.
what she thinks Madoka wants. Sorry, I should have worded it that way.
Madoka is T-posing to assert dominance.
And then she becomes
Yeah,
bubblegum.
and flops. trying to
Bubblegum
pause
Homura.
here. But no, like, for Homura, it was always about what she thought Madoka wanted. That wasn't necessarily what Madoka really wanted, but it was about what she thought Madoka wanted.
Okay.
I don't know, like, however you feel, I do like this scene, though.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's just
It's
so,
beautiful.
like,
Yeah.
like, she's, like,
Yeah, like, there's
smashing the
this
old
sudden
versions of
cut to her
herself
and Madoka sitting in the grass, and then Madoka
Yeah.
falls into the grass and disappears, and there's, like, all these weird, really tall versions of Homura looking over her. And then suddenly, this grassy scene is in, like, this bony hand, and then we see Homu Lily, which is the witch form of Homura. That's the name of this witch. Should we look up Homu Lily on the wiki?
I think I cut and pasted.
Oh, did you?
Here.
Yeah, there we go.
Homu
Homu
Lily.
Lily, the nutcracker witch whose nature is self-sufficiency. She's led by a procession to her death forever within the labyrinth, and red spider lilies sprout from her head. In Japan, red spider lilies signified the arrival of fall. Many Buddhists used it to celebrate the arrival of the ceremony at the tomb of one of their ancestors.
They plant them on graves because it shows a tribute to the dead. That's what I was saying about the amaryllis. Amaryllis is another name for spider lily.
Yeah. She emerges from the Tower of Explaining, which is a pointed thing to call where you just got all of the plot.
Where you just got the explains.
On a circle, she'll walk along forever.
The countdown starts.
Homo Lily is massive, awesome.
I love her.
Yeah, she has what looks like a witch's hat, and the end,
but it's a record
it's
player.
a record player. The end of the hat comes down like a needle, and then the brim of the hat looks like a record. So it's that motif of repetition again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Playing the same thing over and over and over again. You know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love the lace on her sleeves.
It's so cool.
Yeah,
she's just so well designed.
I know.
and you've got that swinging
swinging
thing
pendulum.
that was in her room
Yeah.
before.
Yeah, the one that was in her house.
God, that looks badass. I'm sorry. That's dope.
Okay, this whole sequence where she's talking, this is literally like what it feels like when you want to die and can't.
Yeah. Yes.
Because you love someone.
Just depression things.
It's, just depression things. But they captured it so well that I was just like, oh my god. I was bawling at this point.
And it's interesting because she's aware of it. It's like, I'm a witch and I only remember things that sucked, even if I know things that didn't suck happened.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, that sounds very pointed. It's like red strands of fate thing.
Her familiars are dragging her out of the tower.
Yeah.
Towards a guillotine, and they're dragging her towards a guillotine, but the top half of her head is already cut off and it slides off of her head, like slides back.
Falls and she crushes it under her foot.
And then a bunch of flowers sprout out of the empty part of where her head once was. Yep.
But the record motif remains because she's got a big, like, record thing on her butt.
A gramophone.
So this is another thing that makes me go, what is going on here? So she's being led on this procession, and we get a way zoom out, and there's a purple salamander watching what's going on.
Right.
And we get a shot of this purple salamander, and we see that the salamander is crying. And she says, so this is it. This is how I'm going to die. I'm so sorry. I couldn't even say goodbye to you after all of this stuff. And then it dies. So in going back to what I was saying earlier, like, is this the Homura that we have known this whole time, like, actually dying for real? Like, was that it? Was that Homura just now? Like, I'm so sorry. I never actually got to say goodbye to you. Like, what does that mean now? Because then a second later, we see Madoka. Like,
I took it to be like the last semblance of her human consciousness.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, was that the last of her humanity? Like, leaving her? Like, and then, like.
But I don't necessarily think that means that it dies. It's just gone from any relevance.
Well, yeah, so, and that makes, like, would that not make her a different person? Would that not give her different motivation, different sense of right and wrong? Like this is the kind of stuff I've thought about for the past, like, 7-8 years, trying to make sense of this movie. Okay? So I'm just bringing it up for the sake of, like, discussion. Yeah.
You know how, like, a moment ago you had, like, her and Madoka on the chair, and Madoka asserts dominance, flops over, and then it, like, pans out to Homura, like, smashing with her fist all of the, like, tall Homuras that are watching this scene play out. And it creates that same, like, purple splatter.
Yeah.
That the salamander makes when it gets crushed, and I took that to be like the same, I'm witchily, angrily crushing my feelings forever.
Yeah.
so that I can just...
I'm just losing,
feel
this part of
this.
myself is
Yeah.
just dying, and I'm never going to get it back.
It's just gone,
Yeah.
and I don't want it anymore kind of deal. Like, you can't keep going that
Right.
way. I don't know whether that means that it's gone entirely and she's a different person when she comes back. I don't think so, but I think it's more just you've buried this. But
Yeah, like, I don't know. I would have to go into some dark territory to get into this, so I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
That's okay. We don't have to get into that. We are trying to get through this movie. We have like somehow
Yes.
so
Yeah.
much left still.
Yeah.
So yeah.
now you're
So
finding
we
out,
see
yeah.
the team of magical girls
yes, who have been watching apparently this whole time.
not doing anything.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
Oh my god, with the teeth.
Yeah, the
The
teeth.
teeth
She cries
as tears. Oh my god.
That is
She cries
fucking
teeth,
nightmare
which is
fuel.
Nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
Yes.
We were fine until there was tooth shit. Now we're like, yikes, this is rough. We're like, guillotine's cool. You know, Lily, sure, fine.
Gramophone,
Thrashing,
yes.
just clawing, trying to not be led to the guillotine, whatever. Oh my god, teeth.
Yep.
Hard stuff.
Wait, her head fell off. Yes.
Fine.
But teeth? No.
Get it out.
Teeth, no.
Stop it.
Oh, this part's so cool. Like, she's got these arms, like, coming out of, like, the ribbon on the back of her dress, and they're, like, whipping around the city, like, desperately trying to stop her execution. I
Yeah,
love that
like,
shot.
clawing.
Yeah, I love that.
It's so cool. So the magical girls are like, oh, we're gonna fight her now, and we're gonna save her. And then Kyuubey is like, are you sure you want to do that? That's Homura. That's your friend. And Kyoko's like, wait, this fucking thing can talk. And like, and I feel like that's just the cheapest shot in this whole movie. It's like this fucking. So how did they make their contracts?
Yeah, I know, right?
Did they make their contracts to a non-talking?
Yeah. Did he mime it?
The only
Did he
thing I can
mime
guess is that this is Kyoko still, like, not remembering exactly what was going on outside of the labyrinth.
Yeah. It's hilarious. Like,
yeah, just the idea of Kyuubey trying to make a contract without talking to them somehow. Like,
he wrote it down on a piece of paper.
but, so, yeah. And they decide to trust Bebe, because clearly we should trust Bebe.
And they do the whole, like, oh, if you only acknowledge the power within you, you'll be able to do everything.
Well, no, but that's Kyuubey saying
Yeah.
that, and he's trying to get Madoka
No, that's
to...
Sayaka saying that.
No.
Wait, is that Sayaka or Kyuubey saying that? Because
I'm
it looks
pretty
like
sure
it's Sayaka saying it.
Sayaka reaches out to stop her right here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see?
Oh, okay, okay.
See? That was Kyuubey saying that. If you
Just
only
do it the way
acknowledge
I
the
told
power...
you
Because he's
earlier.
trying to get Madoka to change into a goddess and save.
Oh. Yeah,
so
yeah,
that he
okay.
can control her. So, and Sayaka's like, no, we planned this before. Just do it the way I told you. And so their object is to try and save Homura without Madoka changing.
Well, yeah, because he wants her to change within the Witch Labyrinth. They're going to just attack the boundary.
Yes.
Aren't they? Yeah.
Yep. And then there's me screaming about cheese.
Yes, and then there's you screaming about cheese, which is also
Big mood.
valid.
Look, that's big. That's
feel like that was,
bigly relatable.
Like, even the transformation sequence is
It's like a milkshake.
She's so
I'm
cute.
a milkshake!
She is very cute.
I really love her design.
And she puts a little tiny crack in the boundary.
And all of the little minions are like, oh shit!
Mm-hmm. And now we get a cool Sayaka sequence where she stabs herself, and the blood becomes her witch. Well, the sea that her witch is swimming in.
Octavia von Sickendorf. Although, for some reason, what are they called? Anthony's? The little Anthony's from, not from Gertrude are there? That's interesting. Because those don't belong to Octavia, but okay.
But sure.
Yeah.
Maybe she ate her. We were once bringers of hope that despaired, now we're those who are guided by the law of the cycle.
They're like archangels,
yeah, so-
basically.
Yeah, basically that's why Madoka brought them in, is because they're her kind of second in commands now.
Yeah.
So that's why they're the ones who
Sayaka is waving her sword like a conductor's stick, and it's really good.
Yeah.
It is very cute.
Well, she was
I like
standing
it.
before the orchestra before. I liked that she took the place of the maestro. That was really cool. Like,
That is very cool.
that actually kind of foreshadows what happens in the game Magireko.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, not to spoilers too much here, but they do end up being able to control their witch forms somewhat.
Mm.
Yeah, like it's something like, you power up until you get your finishing move.
It's
but if you
not
power
it's
up
not
twice
too
that
much of a
you
spoiler
can-
because the big mystery is like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Why can we do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is kind of nice foreshadowing
Yeah,
for
yeah.
that, even though I don't think it was intended, but it's a nice like riff that they took out of it.
Yeah.
So now we have all this cool Inukuri stuff and
I know,
reflections
it's
of
just
Octavia.
so much, and you're like,
and-
woo!
Yep. And
Visuals.
Octavia is gonna fight.
Hell yeah, she is. So they split their attention, but they're some of them attack Homolili, others attack the barrier itself, which is a choice. But you do get the whole, we're her personal assist. They do get all of that.
Yeah,
before they
well,
get any
I mean,
further.
she basically explains
Yeah.
their plan to Kyuubey.
Yeah.
They're like, look, we snuck in here, and we're here to wreck your shit.
Yeah.
And they do explain that they had to hold Madoka's memories and power for her so that
Yeah.
she wouldn't get ganked by Kyuubey.
Yeah. So they do explain the plan pretty well.
Yeah.
Mm.
And this is nice. The idea was that if things took a turn for the worse, at least one of us would survive. That's nice.
Yeah.
Like, I like that they're acknowledging that this is extremely risky.
Yeah, and that they would do it anyway.
Yeah.
Because we have to save Homura. Ooh.
Well, yeah.
And they're like, God damn it, why'd you make all this extra work for me? They really are mid-management sorts.
Yeah, I guess. So, and then they say that they're just doing this for Homura, and that's really cute. Isn't this where Mami and Madoka get their, like,
Tiro do it.
Finisher move?
ribbon.
Yeah, Tiro do it.
And then you get your, Kyoko and Sayaka exist.
Yeah.
But
And
Homura does not want to get saved.
No.
Which
No.
is extremely Homura as fuck, to be honest. Of course she is.
Yep.
She wants to die in this world because she doesn't want Madoka to save her.
Yep. She did
Not
well,
at
she
cost
doesn't
to her.
she doesn't want it to cost Madoka anything to save her.
Which she assumes.
And there
it
was
will.
that
Yeah,
language.
they must have other familiars.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah. Because there's a kind of bit of everybody.
Yeah.
Shut up, Sayaka. Don't call us out
Yeah.
like that. Don't take on burdens you can't handle. Shut up. And
Kyoko.
yeah.
Okay, this is a totally unearned moment, but I love it anyway.
Yeah, this is fan service.
Yeah.
I
This is
feel like
extremely
the
fan
series
service.
earned this, so I'm
The
okay
series
with it
earned
being
this
here.
even if the movie didn't.
Yeah, so I like the Kyoko and Sayaka moment. It's adorable.
I had a sickening dream where you died. Sayaka's like, well, I'm not gonna say that.
I hate to
Or
break
did
this to you, but
Mm-hmm. Ox.
Yeah,
Very ox.
that whole thing where she's like, I thought I died with no regrets, but I came back here because I actually do have one regret thing.
Whoa.
Totally ooh. The fact that I left you behind. And they're
I
holding
hate how
hands
cute
and-
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they bust it up, which is good, because
I
you
just
don't want
wanted
that to
to eat
last too
cheese.
long. But I do
is
like
also
that.
a mood, I guess, to be honest.
Yeah, I wanted to eat cheese right
It's
now.
as good a reason to live as any.
So then we get more fighting.
more fighting,
And you
know-
more pew pews.
Yep, lots
Except
of
that at
pew-pewing.
least it's sort of earned at this point because they're fighting anything at all aside from a manufactured conflict between each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like
So that's
they're
kinda
working
nice.
together. They're trying to save Homura.
Yep.
Yeah, this is actually like this fight actually feels like
Like there's stakes.
yeah, yes,
It's not like the Mami
No,
fight where it was
yeah.
like, what even is this?
This like super insane like train with the Sunday and chariots.
I
is
love
so
it.
much.
This
so
is like
much.
the extraest part.
It's so over the top. I can't even get mad at it, but and I like that Sayaka's witch form is carrying Kyoko's
Spear.
Yeah.
spear.
Yep.
And that's how they break the barrier.
So they finally pierce this frickin' barrier. It's all
Mm-hmm.
the shattered pieces are falling down.
Kyubey's
And then
looming
there's,
above.
big Kyuubeys looming over it.
And then they're like, oh, we see the seal, let's trash the fucking thing.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm here to chew gum and break shit, and I'm all out of gum.
But there's windows now.
Oh,
Well,
now
yeah.
we're seeing windows.
Now
Oh, this
we
shit
see-
is straight out of like End of Evangelion. some of these shots.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is from the end.
Yeah.
Where she
I guess
shoots the soul gem.
shooting yourself would feel just like, oh, you shouldn't go off by yourself.
Yeah.
I think
Madoka's
I
trying to
Homura
save
does
her
plenty of
still.
going off on her own.
No matter what happens, you'll always be you, Homura-chan.
okay.
I would never abandon you, so don't give up.
I sure love that shot. Yeah, that's a nice shot. That's a pretty cool shot.
Vana
An
trying desperately not to make the Utena reference.
An arm reaching.
It has been 0 minutes since Utena has been mentioned. Somebody literally just sent me a message on Discord with an Utena post that had to do with that scene.
Listen, we had to feed Oscar at some point, so...
Yes.
The hand reaching out. It's very Utena. They clasp
Come
each other's
on.
hands. It's very sweet.
It's all about the letting go of guilt. Blah blah blah.
I knew I could shoulder any sin, no matter what I became. I knew I'd be fine with it, as long as I could have you by my side.
That sounds healthy.
That is extremely unhealthy. That is extremely bad, actually.
Oh, but they're so cute, guys.
They are cute.
Look,
they are cute.
I don't even know why, but it's pretty and shiny.
Yeah, like, the tone here is so, like...
They, like,
huh?
put their bow and staff together, and, like, everything explodes into big pink flowers.
Mm-hmm.
It's very pure and pew pew. And all the Kyuubeys they're watching and their shit gets trashed.
Yep.
They shoot
Fuck
the
those
moon.
Kyuubeys. And then the moon
Literally.
shoots everyone else.
Madoka uses
All
her
the
super
Kyuubeys
attack.
get trashed.
Yep. And
To
all the
kill
Kyuubeys
all the
get
Kyuubeys. This
destroyed.
is literal genocide.
Literal genocide, yeah.
It's
actually.
Yeah,
literally
but they're just
genocide.
Kyuubeys.
Yeah. They don't matter. Are you
Kyuubey
racist
lives
against
don't matter.
Kyuubeys?
No.
Oh no.
I am. I hate those fuckers.
Look,
I'm happy with this genocide. It's fine by me. All of them should
a
die.
little genocide is okay once in a while as long as
Yep.
it's Kyuubey.
I can
Fine.
have little...
Yasha
Yeah,
can
as
have
a
a little
snack.
war
A little-
crime
a
as
little
a
bit of-
You
treat.
can have it as a snack, yeah.
It's a snack.
It's a snack.
A touch of war crime.
So, Mommy puts Homura's tainted and cracked soul gem on her body where she's laying out in the real world. I mean, I thought they were all, like, shrunken down and tiny. Like, I don't know, like, how they got back here, but they're back. I don't know exactly where they were, but they're back now.
Well, I mean...
Everyone's back
like,
now.
Isn't it basically like they broke the isolation field, so now they're all back in the
I
real
think
world?
so. I guess...
and all of the
Yeah.
people that got lured into
Yeah.
the isolation field are being
I
brought
guess
out
it's
in
like
it.
they
Yeah.
left a witch's labyrinth, even though she wasn't a witch yet, except that she was a witch.
Well, I mean, she was at the end, but I mean, the idea behind it is that they busted the isolation field and got Homura's soul gem back and gave it back to her.
Yeah.
Like in real world terms, they went in an unspecified amount of time passed, and then they busted the thing and took the soul gem out.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so now they're back in the real
Yes.
world.
So are all of her victims. So, like, teacher, her family. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Are they gone now? Yeah. So since they're back in the real world, only Kyoko and Mami are alive.
Kyoko and Mommy are the only ones alive.
Yep. And Homura has a pretty cool grave.
Yeah.
Very fancy.
Very fancy grave. And Madoka is coming to destroy the soul gem and save Homura from becoming a witch. Because she didn't become a witch in the real world.
No.
I guess if it happened in the isolation field is like Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sure is.
So, let me just say again, she didn't become a witch in the isolation field. So, what I said before should apply here. Like according to her wish, like, this should not be happening. Anyway, continue. Don't want to make the same point over again, but just want to remind the audience of that. This should not be
So
happening.
over the top. But it's so pretty.
It is very pretty.
It's so over the top too. I want to say this elephant means something, but I don't know what it would mean. So
Yeah.
now I
And
remember.
Madoka remembers her
I'm-
goddess self.
Yeah, I'm a goddess. No big deal. I love her dress.
Yeah.
I love the goddess
It's
dress. I
so
love the whole
pretty.
like
So
Starfield
so cool.
thing.
Yeah. And they're just
Everyone's
like, what
just
a pain in
making
the
her
neck.
like, what a pain in the ass.
Yep.
Homer, why you like this?
Yep. I don't mind the
I
fake
love
out.
Monika's huge hair.
I
Yep.
wish you didn't have that big gap in the center.
Yeah, with the like
with the belly.
cleavage. That wasn't belly. There was cleavage.
Yeah, can we not? But
Yeah.
fine.
I mean, I guess she's as old as time now, but
Shut up.
That's still, what? What? That's still the 4,000-year-old demon in a 14-year-old
Yes,
body
it is.
thing.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay, so
It
hold
is.
on. We gotta stop here. Because now
right.
we are at the part.
The part you don't like anymore.
Well, like, I'm over it.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I am actually mostly over it. Like we're talking about this movie, so I sound mad, like I'm hyped up. But for the most part,
But you're in the
it's
moment.
been like, when did this movie come out? 2012?
Yeah.
Something like that,
It's been almost,
yeah.
it's been 7 or 8 years. Like, I used to be mad about this movie. Like, I'm mad about Star Wars right now. But, you know,
Yes.
I'm not really that mad about it anymore. But if this is not how the movie ended, I would think it was a mostly pointless, generally bad, but kind of just okay, very pretty movie that really wasn't necessary, but okay, it's fine. I can put it on and enjoy the animation, and it's fine. It's harmless. This part of the movie is really the controversial part. It really overshadows kind of everything else about the movie, and people who like this twist, they like it so much that it makes them defend the movie and all the other problems that the movie has. And people who really hate this twist, it makes them complain about this movie and not appreciate all the good things about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It definitely does.
I definitely felt
definitely
that.
does.
Like, it was probably not until I watched the movie for this podcast that I actually could truly appreciate the things that I do like about this movie. Because this part, when I watched this scene for the first time, first of all, it was a bad translation, so I wasn't entirely sure what was going on. But I was like, what?
Yeah.
I recently watched this with... So I think I mentioned that I recently watched Madoka with a bunch of friends, and they liked it, and that we watched Rebellion, and none of them liked it. Like, I think I mentioned that before, right? And they all had the same reaction. Like, they all got to this part, and everybody was like, huh? Like, everybody was confused. So,
I love this.
Yeah.
And so please, if you love this part, why don't you tell us about that? Like,
Well, first we have to get through the
oh,
parts.
sure, okay,
Yeah. Let's actually watch it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try not to go into too dark of places, but yeah, this makes sense to me on an instinctive level, because love is not just a good thing. Love can be a bad thing.
So Madoka comes down. She's about to
save her.
She's about to save her. And Homura's like, I've waited so long for this. And instead of letting Madoka take her curses and take her off to the magical girl afterlife, she suddenly reaches up and grabs Madoka's wrists, very sinister, with evil anime shadows on her face.
Yeah.
And shit starts going real bad. Yeah.
Nagase goes, oh my god, her soul gem has changed to a color even darker than a curse. And in that sense, so we were saying before, she never turns into a witch in the labyrinth, technically, sort of, maybe. This follows to me from that, because
what happens if you go past
happened
witch?
To her? Yeah, what happens when you go past witch and you go here? And it makes sense to me that this isn't something Madoka can save her from, because Madoka said she was going to take all the curses onto herself.
Yeah.
Never said anything about psychotic levels of love.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where they're gonna go with it. And I actually like that.
Hey, you gotta read the line we've got in the notes. Come on now.
Oh no, it was a double cross. Homura is the cursed as Madoka reaches for her soul gem is captured.
Captured!
She is captured.
But yeah, so this does make sense to me, because love is not
Sayaka
necessarily
doesn't get
good.
it. She's like, is this desire? Is this insatiability? And it's like,
It's
no.
more than that.
It's love.
It is love. It's just love that doesn't care in a weird way.
Well,
honestly,
the whole premise of the magical girl genre is that love is this super powerful force of good.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of yeah, sure, I can roll with Homura being no, love is toxic as shit if you take it this far.
This is so Gen Urobuchi.
It is.
It is. It's
very much
extremely
love is actually fucking awful. Thanks, Gen. Thanks, Gen.
Honestly, I feel this so fucking hard.
Big same again.
Yep.
I see you.
I'm seeing Homura right now. She's
seeing Gen, seeing
She
Homura,
says, this
high
emotion
five.
is mine alone, and I'm like, no, honey, I'm there with you.
Yeah. But she's holding on to Homura, to Madoka, and Madoka is freaking out because she's going to be ripped apart by this contradiction in her ability to save her. Basically, I guess is what they're implying, is if she can't save her properly, she can't keep being...
Yeah.
The conditions of her wish begin to fail, and she stops being Madokami. And you see her split from Madokami into her old self.
And then the color darker than curse covers everything.
And you get the impression that Madoka didn't win this round.
Yeah. I think we can count that as a loss for Madoka.
I shouldn't complain. The only thing I was going to say is that I don't understand what's happening, but there's really nothing to say further than that. Anyway, continue.
Spool of pink thread falls around Homura.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
we get
she bites her
Homura's
own gem. That's
trippy sequence here.
Yeah, the spool of pink thread that I'm...
Yeah, they've been kicking that around.
Yeah,
the
I would
entire
have to go
time.
back and see exactly which parts of the story that spool of thread has shown up in, because it's come up in a few other spots.
A few
Yeah.
times. Yep.
And she bites her soul gem open, and it gets restructured into this badass thing that they made so that they could
Yeah,
sell it.
the spool
the
of
spool
thread.
joins with the soul gem to become this crown thing that is not a grief seed and not a soul
It
gem.
looks very cool.
Somehow.
Something.
It does look
It's
very cool.
Super cool.
It's definitely merch.
It's a merch. It's merch bait.
We love merch bait.
Hey,
Yes.
I want one.
Exactly,
I'm not
that's what I
averse to
mean.
merch
We
bait.
love merch bait.
Yep.
Now
And
we have
the
a lot of
Kyuubeys are
Kyuubeys.
aware that the world is being rewritten because they're Kyuubeys.
Mhm. Star Trek jokes.
Sorry.
It has been 0 minutes since Star Trek has been referenced.
They're
What are-
like, the Kyuubeys are pretty chill for entities that are constantly aware the universe is being rewritten by teenage girls.
Mm-hmm.
You would think they would be under a lot more stress than they are. They're pretty chill for,
Well, I mean,
being
they don't
aware
have
of this
emotions,
bullshit
right?
Here. Yeah, you would need to not have emotions.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'd be a walking ball of fucking stress. They'd all need inhalers. And...
Now I'm just, oh, man, on something awful, they've got a title for a thread. It's the weed thread. It's like an inhaler, but for bullshit.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's them.
Yeah, that's the Kyuubeys.
That's them taking their CBD oil and stuff to deal with fucking Madoka and
Yeah,
Homura.
so this is like 100% Gen Urobuchi here,
Yeah.
who is like saying, it's not even curses that soiled my soul gem. It was
It
literally
was
love
love.
that did it.
My love got a little toxic. Did a little...
I mean,
Went a little
that's
far.
That's the
It
logical
was always,
progression.
though.
That's the logical progression
So,
of what
like,
she's done.
is
She's
Homura the
always
first
been-
person who had love soil their soiled soul gem? Is that the takeaway?
I think that's
the implication.
implication here. Yeah,
Really? In all of
She's-
human
yeah,
human
she's-
history, this is the first time this has happened.
Well...
no one has ever loved anyone the way
As
she's
much
loved
as
them.
Oh my god! Okay, all right. Okay.
Just rolling it.
Yep. Yep.
That's... I'm gonna say that is not the first time that's happened. It's the first time that's happened with someone who had the power and means to take it to this.
That's
conclusion.
okay. That's
Yeah.
I can
think you would
accept
have
that
to-
a little bit more.
You would have
Yeah.
to go through becoming a witch and then unbecoming a
Yeah.
witch and all
She's
that.
the first
shit
person
first.
who had the option of taking it this far.
I guess so. The show does seem to be positing it as different from your curses tainting your soul gem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
I don't
very
know.
different
I don't know
result.
about that.
Yeah.
You know, because
the
seems to
thing
me
is,
that love is
It's
just
not a
as
curse on her soul
love
gem.
is just as capable as turning you into witches as anything else.
It's not a curse on her soul gem. Her soul gem was literally made on this premise.
Yeah.
Like, it was always her love for Madoka that made that soul gem in the
Her
first
and
place.
plenty of other girls over the thousands of
No, but
years. Of
What
human
she's
history.
saying is even her wish was for Madoka.
yeah, but what
Yeah,
I'm
The
trying
soul gem was created.
Yeah, other people
what
made
I'm
the
trying
wish
what I'm
for
trying to
other people
point out
too.
here is that she's answering Kyuubey's questions here of how is this possible, and she's like, well, I guess you could say that curses didn't taint my soul gem at all, that it was actually love that made me this way. You know what I mean? So she's
Yeah.
trying to explain. So
Mhm.
this is more of me nitpicking how I hate this story. So anyway, continue.
But it is definitely
yeah. This is me. This is more of me
internally
complaining.
consistent. It's internally consistent, I think, with her though.
Yeah.
And Kyuubey asks what she's become if not a witch or a magical girl, and she's a demon because it looks badass.
And she grows wings because they're
And
he has
badass.
wings.
And her outfit is
What?
very like Black
I hate these
Swan.
wings
Yeah.
because
Why?
they're ugly.
You don't like skeletal
don't-
wings?
I like skeletal.
I like
wings.
She
skeletal
became
wings.
very goth.
I like the dress. I
Look, I was a goth child, so
I
I'm in love with
that
it.
This is when Kyuubey goes, you know what? I don't think we should mess with y'all anymore.
I just don't like how spread out the feathers are.
That's fair. Y'all are too unstable. Maybe we need to do something
Yeah, Homer's
else.
like, oh, is that so? And then she's like, she's so like too fucking bad.
Yeah, which is satisfying at this point.
Yeah.
Because it's a fate worse than death for Kyuubey.
Yeah.
Yep. It's like,
You guys are gonna have to do all the heavy lifting. Sorry, babes.
I do love it that just now he's realizing this was a bad idea. It's
That's
like,
where you
oh,
come in.
okay.
She's like petting him menacingly, and
Yep.
That's the way I pet my cat.
it's very me
Lift
too.
Ditto
I
up
also
by his
pet my
back.
cat this way. Yep, and then just
So now we have a bunch of galaxy shots to imply that this is the
The new
entire
universe.
galaxy that has been rewritten, etc., etc. The gramophone again. And now we have a nice little scene on that walkway that they're always running down. And it's spring, and the cherry blossoms are in bloom, and all the students are there, and Homura is sitting there with a little patio table with a parasol over her head.
looks
And
very
then-
idyllic.
Yes. Looks very peaceful, very happy.
Very happy. Very
Everyone
peaceful.
is happy here.
Much happy.
Very.
Very beauty.
We see Mommy, and Mommy stops to look at the petals, and
Everyone,
doesn't see Homura.
yeah. Like, Homura was sitting, like, in a table in the middle of the walkway to school, and she disappears as soon as Mommy turns around to look at her. And when she opens her hand where she had caught a a cherry blossom petal, it was actually a black feather.
Yep.
And we have the familiars.
Kyoko is
But
feeding
they
the
look real now.
familiars.
And Kyoko's feeding them apples. And throws food to another bunch of
The
Familiars.
Homolily familiars.
Yes.
And she, too, like, senses that Homura is there, but when she turns around to look at her, she's not there anymore.
I think it's not that she's gone, but just that they can't see
Yeah.
her.
Mm-hmm.
But Sayaka can see her. And,
Merch watch.
yep, that earring is...
Yeah,
merch.
her salamander earring is very cool.
Yep.
You've broken off a part of the law of the cycle. So Sayaka knows what's happened for now.
And she says, all I took was the tiny piece of it, just the part that was the records of Madoka before she ceased to exist.
Somehow, all of you wound up being pulled in as well. So I wonder if this means that this is her creating a pocket dimension?
Maybe. So,
So
Yeah.
maybe...
everyone seems to be of two minds
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
Because people think that it's either a pocket dimension that she's keeping Madoka's personality in,
Mhm.
in which case does that mean that Madoka keeps existing outside of it and everything's basically fine? Or is this she's torn off a part of the law of cycles and therefore rewritten the entire universe, and because Madoka's not outside of it, you don't have any world really but this one now?
Yeah.
Like, has she rewritten the entire world to basically be her massive witch labyrinth? in
I mean,
service
how
of
else can
protecting
you make sense of that
Homura?
entire, like, 1 or 2 minute scene where she's rewriting the universe, and that's what Kyuubey
Yeah,
is saying.
exactly.
Like, oh, you're rewriting
Yeah.
the universe right now.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So I took it to mean she's just decided this is the universe now, and that's it.
Yeah. It's just that this conversation
But
kind of
yeah,
embodies
but then
things
she
because it
says,
implies
because
that
then
it's
she
only a
says
small
you can't
part.
return to wherever you were before.
Yeah,
You
so
were
that
before.
implies the existence of wherever they
Yeah,
were before. It's just they
I-
can't
If
get
she
back
rewrote
to
the
it.
universe, that
I
would
don't
come
think
without
Homura
saying.
realizes that. Yeah, I don't think Homura realizes the degree to which she rewrote the universe
Well,
necessarily.
maybe not.
Maybe
but,
she doesn't want to know.
I mean, that's fair.
Maybe she's learned this time to actually not tell herself things because she becomes a pain in her own ass when given too much information.
I
Anyway,
guess.
I'm enjoying having this villain explain the plot to me over a frosty drink.
Yes.
Fuck you.
That's an Utena reference. I'm sorry. That's gotta be. The villain explaining the plot over a frosty drink.
Did it have to be pink, the drink?
Yeah.
Pink drink?
Hey, we should make the pink drink tonight. We bought a lot of booze.
Ooh.
We should.
We should try and make the pink drink.
Perhaps after all the wraiths are destroyed. So the wraiths still exist in this world.
Yeah.
And after that, I can be your enemy. But I do think this is the real world, to be honest. And she's taking away everybody's memories, this is pretty cool. Like watching Sayaka like freak out losing her memory. This
Yeah.
one's already lost it. Like they're
Oh,
implying.
Nagisa already can't remember.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Sayaka holds on to it a little bit more, but it's.
I know I was connected to a power that existed outside this world, but I can't remember what it was anymore.
I'm not supposed to be here.
I do like this. Why don't you simply enjoy your second chance at living a normal life?
Yeah.
I do like that.
So basically she's recreated the circumstances she had in the labyrinth in the first place, but the difference is that now she's chosen to be conscious of it, and she's fine with that. Yep.
She's quite okay with that, which is, I think, the quote-unquote progress of her personality off of that fucking cliff.
Yeah.
Is at this point, as long as everybody else is happy in their lives, she doesn't actually mind knowing that it's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
As long as
Madoka she's in control of it.
Yeah, as long as she can control it, it's fine. Which is also a mood.
Yeah.
Also, the shoes falling in the water thing is like, is that drowning?
That reminds me of the Utena movie a lot.
Yeah,
there was the shoe in the water all the time.
So
Yeah.
Sayaka vows that she's not going to forget that Homura is a demon.
Yeah,
and Homura threatens Sayaka that even Madoka might come to dislike you in that case.
Yeah.
Yep. And Sayaka forgets entirely when she sees her fuckboy and Hitomi.
There.
I can't remember his name anymore.
Kyosuke.
Yeah. I thought that was very sweet. I didn't realize how happy it would make me to be able to say good morning to you again.
Yeah.
She is
I
happy
thought
to see
that was
them.
really sweet. Yeah. Like,
She's
even if
getting
the
her
world
chance
was
at another life.
even if the world was rewritten by evil, it still appears to be a world
Very
where they're all
idyllic.
happy.
And they still have the raids. Don't
Yeah.
forget, Homura mentions that there's raids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're all magical girls and they're all going to keep fighting wraiths, but it's this much lower stakes, idyllic version of the world that they're in.
And the teacher's talking about eggs again. Like, I think we mentioned this.
Homura's heard this conversation about 8,000 times now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right?
She's going to be so
But,
sick of this shit.
I do like the contrast here because back in the beginning of the movie, she's talking about the fucking apocalypse.
Yeah.
And now she's just talking about eggs.
Yep.
Like, that.
Whatever is existing here, it's a lot more comfortable for everybody.
Yeah. And it's Madoka this
Madoka,
time, who is
who'd
a
been in
transfer
America.
student.
Yeah, so the teacher introduces a transfer student, and you're kind of bracing yourself for it to be Homura because we see her watching the teacher through a window, but it is Madoka instead. And here is it's Madoka, but she is wearing the yellow ribbons that she shows her mother in episode 1 instead of the red ribbons that she actually wears. So if you remember from episode 1, she asks her mom, which ribbon should I wear? And her mom tells her to wear the red ones. And she's like, you don't think it's too flashy? And her mom says, no, I forget exactly what she says, but she basically says something like, you gotta go for it. You gotta put yourself out there. Is basically what she tells her.
Young
And
flamboyant.
this Madoka that Homura has basically made for herself is not the flashy Madoka who goes for it. This is the shy transfer student Madoka. This is not even Madoka. Do you know what I'm saying? Like we were saying earlier, like these two people who love each other don't even really understand each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because love doesn't necessarily mean you understand.
No.
Yeah. So then she peels Madoka off from her admirers.
It's a role reversal here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's Homura who's being all forward and not shy, and Madoka is being the shy one. And she offers to lead her around the school. And they gave us a lip shot with her lips, like,
It's a
colored.
little weird.
Like, what is that?
It's
Yeah.
a little weird.
Like, why?
Because she's the devil.
Yeah, we get a lot of lip shots
You're
of
supposed
her.
to be suspicious of her motives now.
Yeah, so she's leading her through the school ostensibly to show her around, but we know she just wants to get her alone in that damn hallway again.
Mm-hmm.
The hallway of horrible conversations.
Yeah, it's the horrible conversation hallway. How does it feel to be back after so long?
Yeah.
Everything is familiar and nostalgic, but kind of different somehow. It's a strange feeling.
She explains that they've been living overseas, right?
Yeah, they were in America
Yeah.
for 3 years.
So it's like, we're talking about one thing, but we mean another.
Mm-hmm.
When we get into that isolated walkway.
Yep. They have some really long shots of them walking.
Yeah. Come to think of it,
I
it's
guess
more
that's-
like nothing has changed.
Yeah, I guess it's like building suspense.
Well, it's
And then
the only
she
thing
remembers.
that's changed is me, and then her eyes change color when she starts remembering Madokami.
Yep. And Homura does not want this to happen.
No.
That's right. I should have a different
She starts to
form.
remember that, like, this is not right, basically.
Yeah.
And that their surroundings start to change. Like, it starts to become spacey and galaxy, and her hair ribbons fall out, but Homura runs over and hugs her, and is basically like, hey, please, like, don't do that. Like, this is normal. It's fine.
You're exactly
Don't
what
worry
you were
about
always meant to be.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just a happy, normal girl. Ooh woo.
Mm-hmm. And all of the space stuff dissipates, and Homura breathes a sigh of relief there.
Do you treasure
This is the
world?
same question she asked her in the first episode.
Is it exactly the same?
Yes.
I can't.
Well, pause it. Like in the
like,
first episode, she says,
yeah. Do you treasure this world? And then she talks about her family and
well,
friends.
I guess I don't know what she's about to ask her next, but like that is in the first episode, that is what she asks her next. Like, do you treasure your family and friends? And Madoka's like, yes, I love them, and I think she's like, I would do anything for them. And then Homura says, good, then you'll never do anything to change yourself. You would never do anything to change the kind of person that you are. And the thing is, Madoka would change herself to protect people. I think that's the thing Homura doesn't understand about Madoka. You know?
Yeah. So it's the same question. It's phrased a bit differently because she doesn't ask about family and friends.
Yeah.
She asks about stability and order.
Yeah.
And that's basically, like, it's meant to recall that question,
right.
for sure.
Yeah.
But it's also meant to acknowledge the basically the order of the universe, kind of. And Madoka's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
I guess I do.
I guess I do think it's kind of bad to break rules because you feel like it.
And Homer is like, well, eventually then we will become enemies.
Yep.
Oh, and she ties up Madoka's hair with the red ribbons.
Yeah.
Yep.
But this is the same thing that Madoka does previously, where she's braiding the hair, trying to get it back to the way it was.
Yep.
So you have the same motif of them trying to put their hair back to the way it was before any of this happened.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that at this point, Homura is,
Homura has the power to enforce that.
Happen. Yeah. Whereas Madoka did not when she was trying to do it. She was doing it as a friend, not as, a literal force of nature.
Yeah. Yep. I will continue to wish for a world in which you will be happy.
Ooh.
Even if we're enemies,
even if it's
Homura's
not what you think
takeaway.
you want, I will want it for you.
Yeah.
Which is a lot.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that ribbon was kind of like the hope.
Yeah.
Madoka gave it to her to keep the memory alive.
Mm-hmm.
And Homura takes it off because she doesn't need it.
Yeah.
Because Madoka needs it more, I guess. But yes, so
and the
idyllic
music plays
scenes
the
of
canon.
playing and a lot of witch stuff around, but people are basically living normal lives.
Country of Sweets, good morning.
On the signs, yep. And then that house where they're moving in, Madoka's house that's made entirely of windows.
Yes.
The end!
The
end! Yay!
And
we
it's
made it!
canon.
Did it!
We made it!
We got
We
through
got
it!
through it.
We did it, guys.
We did say this was
survived.
going to be a 4-parter, and we honored that. It is a 4-parter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Yep.
is. As
Actually,
advertised.
Isn't there a little bit to talk about in the credits, too?
I don't remember.
Because there's 2 sets of
yes.
credits, right? They give you
Because
these
there's
credits.
this whole thing where they're kind of doing this dancing back
Yeah,
and forth.
and they've got like silhouettes of Madoka and Homura, and I think they end up with the hands, holding hands, I think.
Well, there's like a whole other 5 minute and a
Yeah,
half here.
and there's another credit sequence after this, I think. Wasn't that how
Maybe.
it worked?
We're gonna find out. Okay,
Oh, yeah!
yes, there's the post.
It's my favorite.
Okay.
I've actually had dreams like this.
Okay, so post credit sequence will launch in a moment here. They really like to drag this out because it's a black screen for like a good 10 or 15 seconds before the post credit sequence starts.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Okay, it's
So we've got a half
that
a world.
field or a field,
A half a field.
a half a field. Homura on a chair on the edge of a cliff. A half
Under
moon.
half a
Literal
moon.
half of a moon.
I've actually literally had dreams like this.
Literally half.
Yeah, like, even to
And
falling
then,
off the edge
snap,
of the world.
it's a Kyuubey.
A Kyuubey shows up. Oh no! Kill it before it does anything. And she pulls out her soul
is
gem,
the
and this is
dancing.
the dance that she does around Kyuubey's broken, bloody body.
Yep.
Which is totally what I would be doing at this point. Fuck Kyuubey. Stands in front of half the moon and then falls off the cliff. And then we get Kyuubey's
Crumpled body.
tattered,
Yeah.
broken body cowering in the field.
That's sad.
No, it's not. Fuck that thing.
It's a little
It's
sad.
sad. It's a
No,
little
it's
sad.
not. For
We
me,
get
that's
one last
And the
extremely
window
window is
watch.
satisfying.
stitched, but the window is stitched closed.
Yep.
Dun
The
dun
window
dun.
is tied closed.
Very foreboding.
Yep.
But yeah, no, that dancing is the same dancing that
I think it's
Sayaka
the
was
same
doing.
dance too that
Yeah.
that they were doing. Remember, I pointed it out when Homura was going bats.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the white ones were doing the same dance
Yep.
for a little while. But yeah, so there we go.
And we have a note here. The opening of the musical for the final credits is Canon Indeed by Pachelbel, the same music that plays in every third scene at Evangelion, and absolutely wasn't the first explicit reference. P.S. Yeah, even Utena references Evangelion with this song. So, yeah.
It's basically the Ava reference song at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. If it's in an anime, that's the Ava reference.
Yep.
But, so, final thoughts?
Okay, so I've talked at length about how I don't like this ending. I feel like I don't hate it in concept. The idea of Homura doing the twist ending and like going evil and like because like her love has kind of turned toxic is not really that outlandish. I just don't really feel like it's earned over the course of this movie, and it disappoints me because, like, I really wanted to like this movie, given especially, like, each time I watch it, I like it more because I'm able to appreciate the things that I really do like about it. But it feels like a cheap shock ending to just be like, oh, you didn't see that one coming. And especially if this is, like, the end of the series, so to speak, because that's ostensibly what it was for a long time.
Right.
Well, it still is.
Well, I mean, we don't know that. They've, like, hinted that there might be other things, and then there's also Magireko, which, even though it's a spin-off, like, does kinda...
They're still doing that thing where magical girls can be saved, etc., and that may lead to something that changes this. So,
I mean, I feel like I've already said, like, what I think so many times. I mean, like, when I first watched this movie, I would have told you it's a 0 out of 10. Like, that's how much I hated this movie. Like, I just, I had a very visceral negative
I would have
reaction
said the
to this movie
same
when I first saw it. Yeah. Now that I've seen it a lot, and it's, you know, it's been in my brain for like 7-8 years. On good days, I'll give it like a 6 out of 10. And on days where I'm feeling cranky, I'll give it like maybe a 4 out of 10. You know what I mean?
That's progress.
Yeah. And that's on a scale where a 5 is average. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to say it's necessarily like a bad movie, you know.
There are a lot of bad things about it.
There are a lot of problems with this movie. It is not if you like this movie, that's fine, but it's one of those situations where like you should be honest about the fact that it has problems.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
and not everyone who runs to the defense of this movie does that.
No, I'm sure not.
Yeah. You know, like, I don't like how it skews towards a side of the fandom that I don't belong to and don't like. I don't like how it kind of reframed the ending of the anime. I'm someone who likes happy endings.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm an idealist, and I try to be an optimist because the world is terrible, and that's the only way I can stay sane is to try to believe in people as hard as I can, because otherwise I'll just curl up in a ball and never leave my house.
Yeah.
So, like...
No, I get that feel.
Yeah, and that's why I like magical girl shows and comic book shows and Star Wars. Like, that's why I like all of that stuff. And I like it when shows have happy endings. And I really loved the ending of the original anime. And this movie just kind of takes that away from me. And that's really at the core of why I don't like it. And for me, Homura is a heroic character who, you know... I like tragic stories where doing the right thing tears you up inside, but you still do it anyway. You know what I mean? Because I find I find myself having to do that all the time. I'm an attorney. I work in criminal law. I find myself having to do that all the time, like in my professional and my personal life. And it feels good to have some of the superhero shows that I watch kind of validate the fact that I have to do that all the time. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
like I don't want to then have a character who does that and is a hero in that way in the sequel turn around and be actually a bad person the whole time. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that feels bad. That feels bad. That doesn't make me feel good. So that's kind of like on a personal level, that's like my problem with this movie. On a little bit more of an objective level, I think the movie has a lot of like just movie problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Like,
that's
once you hit the objective level, you have to acknowledge the weird scenes that don't belong in it, and the weird writing that,
Cul-de-sacs
like,
and-
the way it
Yeah.
kind of wanders around and doesn't really do anything for the first while. Like,
yeah, it's like exposition dump, cool animation, exposition dump, fight scene with cool animation, exposition dump. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's got this weird pattern to it. It does a lot of telling instead of showing. Like, like it's got like we've said numerous times, it has a whole anime season worth of story crammed into a movie that spends half of its runtime on cool animation scenes instead of story. So it's really it's like a whole series worth of story in like an hour's worth of movie, and then the other hour is animated scenes. So
I guess we should give our
go
final
ahead. Yeah,
thoughts on the
I've
movie.
gone on long enough. Those are my final thoughts.
I could have done probably without the first 3/4 of the movie. Like, it's not really, it's cool and some of it is fun to watch, but it doesn't really go anywhere until we hit Homura blowing up.
Yeah.
And at that point, to me, it becomes amazing.
Yeah.
Right up
Yeah.
until the end.
I even love that
Because-
part.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing, though, for me, right up until the very end, because that's what Homura goes through is extremely validating for me, because those are the kind of things that I see and that I've been through.
Right.
Love becoming toxic and the desire to protect someone else so much that you'll sacrifice anything or destroy everything for them. So, to me, it doesn't seem like a logical progression in the movie, but for me, reading her character from the series, all the time I was very aware that that is an unhealthy thing for her to fixate on. That that's going to turn bad if it's the only thing she has.
Right.
And it was. So, for me, this is a logical end to that. So, that's why I like it so much, is because it does explore that bad end and it does explore things that are close to things that I've experienced. So, Donna?
I would agree that probably the first half of the movie is extremely overpadded. There are sequences that I dearly enjoy that serve very little purpose to no purpose at all.
Yeah.
Like the bus and like this attempting to depict them going around in circles while trying to drive in a straight line out of this place.
Yeah.
And it's kind of emblematic of the whole movie in that there's these really high highs that don't necessarily service the plot or anything at all. And then there's a lot of really low lows where there's a lot of mouth flapping and words and stuff and not a lot of
do
I
doing
care?
things or
that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, I guess as with everybody else, the ultimate whether this is a good movie or not hinges on how you feel about its end. And I like its end just fine for the same reasons that Yasha does. Her choosing, like, it's not a stretch at all for me to think of, I love somebody so much that I want to protect them. They're fucking terrible at doing this themselves, so I will make them happy whether they
want to be or
want
not.
it or not. I'm not even gonna ask them how they want to be happy because I don't trust them to figure it out themselves. They'll fuck it up. I'm gonna make them happy whether they like it or not. If that requires me tearing down the rest of the physical universe and reassembling it to make that happen, that's not especially surprising, but I will do it. That's a big fucking mood.
Yeah. It is.
Because that's probably a decision both of us would make on account of the other.
Probably, yeah. Like,
but
yeah. I mean,
it is a very harsh interpretation of the end of the series. I feel like it does follow entirely from the series. Everything about this movie doesn't seem like a huge stretch from the end of the series. However, it is the saddest, worst, most unpleasant result of an ambiguous end.
It is.
And that's, I think, what kind of sucks about it. Like, when we keep saying the Utena movie's fine because it's not a continuation of the series, this sucks in that it's a continuation of the series that confirms the most unhappy reading of the series being the canon one.
Yeah.
And I definitely get that that's not very fun, especially when the series endeavored so strongly to have an ambiguous ending that, you know, sad, negative nannies like Yasha and I could read as sad and depressing, and you could read as uplifting and inspiring. And then having the movie come and write that canon out and be, no, it's the sad pants, torture porn ending is a little
Yeah.
Did we need that? Not really. I enjoyed it because it was consistent with my reading of the story, but I'll be the first person to say my reading of the story is probably not the best one to have.
It's
or the
probably
funnest
not
one
the
to have.
healthiest one to have.
Unfortunately, it is the one I would argue Gen had, because Gen is a dark, grim, dark, sad, grim, dark
Gen
pants.
is an edgy boy.
He's an edgy boy.
He sure is. He sure
So
is.
in that sense, I guess I'm not surprised this is what we got. But I do think he intentionally left the end of Madoka vague to allow for readings that were brighter than his own.
Yeah.
And he does not leave you that slack here.
Panda, you love magical girls in Sailor Moon the way I do.
Oh, yes, I definitely,
Mhm.
like, look, I like a good, like, dark ending just as much as the next person, but, like, when I come to a magical girl show, even Madoka,
Mhm.
I kind of want there to be, like, kind of a happy
Mhm.
ending.
The happier ending.
I don't want to say it's essential to the genre, but it's kind of like, it's like kind of why the genre exists.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make
And the
sense?
moment it's subverting the genre the moment you have an unhappy ending.
Yeah,
kind of
like
deal.
it's
Yeah.
for little girls. It's to make little girls feel good about themselves.
I'm pretty sure that we
So-
know that the, like, Homura becoming an antagonist twist was added, like, because of a studio mandate or something. I'm pretty sure that that's on the...
Yeah, that was
Devil
not.
Homo is some sweet fucking merch.
Now I can't remember if we went over this, but let's just this is a point that can get factually blurred.
Sure.
So let's just be
Mhm.
factually accurate here,
Okay.
okay?
Okay.
Again, Urobuchi was not forced to change the ending.
Okay.
He has never said that he hates the ending. He has never said that he is disappointed with the movie, okay? Because sometimes
Mhm.
people who hate Rebellion can say some of those things, and none of those things are
That's
true.
fair.
Those are all all of that is stretching the truth. What is true is that was not the original ending of the movie. The original ending of the movie was Madoka coming down and taking Homura off to Magical Girl Heaven. And then somebody from the studio or the producer or somebody in a suit came to him and said, "Can you write the ending of the movie in a way that will let us have a continuation of
More
the story
sequels.
if we want to
Yep.
continue the story?" And he said, "Okay."
Yep.
And then this is how he ended the movie instead. So,
That makes a lot of sense.
yes.
That makes
So,
a lot of sense.
you're right.
Well, and
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons that I don't like this movie is because, like, it does feel like that's tacked on at the end. And I felt that way before.
It does a
finding
little bit.
out that it was written
Yeah.
in that way. And then once I found that out, I was like, oh, that explains why I feel this way.
Mhm.
It doesn't feel very foreshadowed.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I personally think, like, if, like, that whole conversation she had with Madoka where she's like, I started to doubt you. I started to wonder if I had made you up in my head. I didn't know what was real anymore. Like, if we had kind of got some of that in the beginning of the
Mhm.
movie, and we had
Mhm.
kind of absorbed some of just how unhappy she had become before she had
Yeah.
gotten into this world, I think I could have found it a little bit more believable.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
I would have known just how miserable she was. But we never get any of that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We get dropped into this, it's kind of like, and I think I talked about this earlier, like, we get dropped into this situation where they're suddenly fighting nightmares, and it's supposed to be like this weird mystery story, like, what's going on? These aren't wraiths. This doesn't make any sense. And for me, I was just confused. I was like, what's going on? I don't care about what this is. I have so many
Mhm.
questions. I can't get invested because I'm so confused.
Mhm.
And I didn't really feel like the stakes didn't really stick with me because I was just like, I don't know what's happening. Like,
Actually, I kind of like that
You
it's
know,
nightmares that they fight.
I mean,
in the in Homura's
Like, in
labyrinth,
isolation.
it's
Yeah.
nightmares that they fight because, of course, that's the only place where her subconscious comes out.
when you only have 2 hours instead of a
But-
whole
but
series,
yeah.
like, is it a
You
good
don't have time
idea?
for shit like
you don't
that.
have time.
Is
for
it a
those
good
details.
idea, or do you maybe just start it off with them fighting wraiths and you show us Homura being unhappy?
I don't think it would have cost them anything to just stick with Wraith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Like I said, the entire, like, first half to 3/4 of the movie is stuff that really I could have done without. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't lead anywhere for a lot of it. A lot of it looks cool. A lot of it is fun to watch. but it doesn't really mean anything. Like, I adore the soundtrack. I love the visuals. There's a lot I love about this movie, but story-wise, it's a mess.
Like, imagine if this movie was them just fighting wraiths, and Homura being unhappy and starting to doubt Madoka's existence. And suddenly, we start seeing witches. And now Homura's like, hold the fuck on, this is impossible. And then she starts investigating how this is possible. And then we kind of get the same kind of, like, second half of the movie. What would be different?
On the one hand, I
know?
totally agree with
Yeah.
you. Like, on the one hand, I totally agree with you. That would be a better story and a better logical progression. But on the other hand, this movie is kind of a beautiful mess, and I kind of love it the way it is.
I do understand.
In that sense,
because
there's the fun of the movie.
I love that beginning scene where they're fighting the nightmares. I love the little song they sing. Like, it's so bizarre and creepy and weird. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
I have an appreciation for that stuff, like, artistically, and, like, they clearly put work into it, like, it came out well, but it leaves me, like, I can easily imagine a way better version of this movie in my head.
Yeah. And, like, no doubt that would be a better movie, but on the other hand, like I said, we wouldn't have this beautiful mess.
No. And
it's a mess. It's a fucking mess.
I want to reiterate to everybody, if you like this mess, totally valid. And I still love all of you listening if you like this mess. It's totally fine.
All right. Anything else we should add before we wrap up?
I mean, that's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's pretty much.
That was us talking about Rebellion.
We made it
a lot
through,
of talking.
guys.
We made it.
We made it through.
Finally
Through
done.
the wilderness.
So yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. Hopefully, if you love this movie, I didn't make you feel too bad. I don't think I went too overboard.
I think we were pretty balanced.
I
on the
think
whole.
so.
balanced.
I think so.
I
Yeah.
think so.
Thank you for joining us, Panda.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, Panda.
Yeah.
This is the
Thank
closest
you.
I've paid attention to this movie since it came out.
Aw. Thank you for joining me, Vanna and Yasha.
Thank you.
As always.
So thanks for listening, everybody. And
Thank you for listening.
yes, we'll see you next time. If you want to follow the show on Twitter, you can do that at Madoka Magicast. On Tumblr, also Madoka Magicast, although we're kind of not very active
Who's
there
active
at the
on
moment.
Tumblr
I need
anymore?
to
Yeah,
update.
Tumblr is dead.
Tumblr's
Yeah.
kind of dead, so.
Tumblr is dead.
Yeah.
Actually, we're moving to Pillow Fort.
Yeah, we're trying to
so
move to-
Yeah,
If you want to invite
maybe we should
messages.
move. Maybe we should open a pillow fort for the podcast.
I can give you links.
Yeah, if you're interested in that, let us know,
wish we
and
could
we
have a
will
real
we will
pillow
maybe
fort.
look into that. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
All right. And should you want to see what Vanna and I are doing, you can always find us at ohtori.nu. That is the biggest English language. Is there even a
No.
Japanese language internet site?
No.
So we're just the biggest
No,
internet
we're the
site.
biggest, period.
And if you want to find us on Twitter, where we do all of our shit posting, you can find us at ohtori_nu. Panda?
If you would like to follow me on Twitter, you can do that at impandanata. If you would like to hear other things I do in the world of podcasting, you can check out the Fresh Podcast Market, a real podcast about fake podcasts.
A real podcast about fake podcasts. I mess it up sometimes, but I usually get
Very
most of it.
Okay.
Yes. All right, join us next time, y'all.
All right.
Bye.
We are Sarah's and Mike.
No, we're not.
We
Not
We
in
have
this
been
podcast.
Sarah.